for the assembly today, Lord. I just thank you that everybody made it here safe, Lord, despite the rain, Lord. I just thank you that you're in this place right now, God. And I just thank you that you put me on this platform, Lord, for your glory, God. I just ask that you would give out new perspective today, God, and just touch people's hearts, Lord. And Lord, whatever you need them to know, God, or you need them to take from this, Lord, let it be so, Lord. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. All right. So, all right, so I wanted to start off by piggybacking on something that Pastor Troy said last week. He was talking about this holiday season, how people are upset, how people are depressed, how people are fearful, how people are worried and stuff like that. And it's not just the sinners, it's Christians as well. And they serve the same God that we serve. And they're going through the same exact thing. And what the Lord revealed to me, it's in John 5:39. It says, you study the scriptures diligently because you think that in them you have eternal life. But these are only the scriptures that testify about me. And that scripture always stands out to me because when somebody says, but, that kind of means the thing before isn't what they think or isn't what they believe. He said, you think that in them. So that means that's not true. So he's saying that they only testify about him. A testimony talks about who somebody is. I mean, what somebody did, but not who they are. And that's what we need to hold on in this time to know who he is. So it says we overcome Satan. It says we overcome Satan by the word of our testimony, right? Yes. But we overcome our flesh by relationship, not our testimony. So, if y'all are going through something, if y'all going through hard times, y'all can't look at my testimony to somebody next to you's testimony and say, this will get me through. Nobody thinks about my testimony when they go through it. You got to know who God is and you got to know how God is to get through a situation. So today the Lord has me up here to just put perspective on the aspect of who the Lord is and come against some misconceptions that people have about the Lord. So I hear a lot of people say that God can't be reasoned with, he can't be petitioned, that he's a God that wants to punish us all the time, and that he's a God that wants to judge us quickly, but that's not what my Bible says. Amen. So I want to start off by talking about how one of the names of God is actually love. I don't know the scripture on it, and there might not be one, but it says that he is the great I am, and he is everything that we need. So he's greatly in proportion what we need or any godly desire that we need. He is that. So he is love.
Amen.
So what the Holy Spirit revealed to me that in 1 Corinthians 13, when it talks about love, when it talks about all the things about love, that they're actually talking about God and it's describing God and his character. So to start off knowing God, that's where he took me to. So 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8 says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy or boast. It is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects. It always trusts. Always hopes. Always preserves. And love never fails. So what the Holy Spirit had me do is put God everywhere that I saw love. And he said that's how he is. If you don't know him, that's a good foundation to start with. So I rewrote it. God is patient. God is kind. God does not envy or boast. God is not proud. He does not dishonor others. He is not self-seeking. God is not easily angered. God keeps no records of wrong. God does not delight in evil, but he rejoices in truth. He always protects. He always trusts. He always hopes. He always preserves. And God never fails. So a lot of times we look at it in an emotion aspect, but it's talking about God. It's describing God. So a lot of times we think God is ready to punish us, that God can't forgive us. But right here it says that he's slow to anger and he's quick to forgive. So another thing that he showed me is if you don't know who God is, look at the fruit of the Spirit. It's not just the fruit of anybody's spirit, it's the fruit of God's Spirit. And I looked at the word fruit, and in Greek, translated fruit refers to the natural product of something alive. So if it's the fruit of the Spirit, it's God's living quality in us. So the fruit of the Spirit is love, peace, joy, patience, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, meekness, self-control. And that's all inside of them. For something to be produced from something alive, it has to be inside of it already. Amen. So what I learned about the Lord is every time we mess up, he fixes it. That's how good God is. We mess it up and God always makes a way for it. We never have to. We think we do, and that's how we get tired. But he's the one that makes a way. God never created, he created us without punishment or consequence. He didn't give us repercussions until sin was revealed. So it was never in his plan to want to punish us. He's a good God. He never wanted to punish us. And when Christians fail to realize that God can be petitioned with and reasoned with, that's when the walk gets hard because we take his conviction and turn it into condemnation. So when he convicts us, we think that, okay, he said this, so now it can't change. and he's telling me it's over with. No, if he convicts you, that means there's more time. He's telling you, he's convicting you because he's saying you have time to change it. He wouldn't convict you if there wasn't something that could be changed. Because until the day of judgment, we have more time. So everybody needs to change their perspective on that. If somebody says, well, you're doing this wrong, it needs to be changed, don't say, well, man, I don't think this living for God thing is for me. It's more for you than ever when you feel convicted, because that means you're growing in the Lord. I mean, I don't know what everybody's done or what nobody plans to do or what anybody has done before or what punishment or consequence they feel like that's growing or that they have to deal with, but the Lord is saying people have second chances. There's definitely second chances in the room. I know it's coming to the end of the year, and some of the things that people have done or some of the things that we feel like we have to pay for, we don't. We don't have to pay for it because Jesus already paid for it. It's like, I was thinking about it, how the Lord showed me was like, you go to the gas station or something like that, or you go to a store, and so you about to buy something, right? But you have a gift card, and you don't know you have the gift card, so you pay yourself. But you had that gift card. Jesus is the gift. He's the gift. We try to pay for something that we don't have to pay for, and then we forget about it. And it's not until that we acknowledge that Jesus already paid for it that we don't have to stop coming out of our own pocket. So it hurts us because we come out of our own pocket. But Jesus already paid for it. So we bearing everything on us, but Jesus paid for it already. So until we remember we got that gift in our pocket, we're going to be dealing with everything that he's already dealt with. And on the aspect of the punishment, he took me to the story of Abraham when he was kind of pleading with God for Sodom. So in Genesis 18:22 through 23, Abraham approached the Spirit of the Lord and said, will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous in the city? Will you really sweep it away and not spare it for the 50? Far be it from you, Lord. Will not the judge of the earth do right? So what Abraham did, he told God who he was. He pleaded with him. He reasoned with him. And he was begging for Sodom. Sodom was totally and completely wicked. Like, they did everything that was wrong to the Lord. And Abraham pleaded for them, not for his own benefit, but because he was reminding God who he was so he could stay in character, basically. God wasn't going to break character. He could have did what he wanted to do, but Abraham wanted to remind him, you're the God that I know is a loving God, so, do right, God. Can you do this for me? And then God did it. God said, I will relent if I find 50. Relentless means to never stop or to keep going. So if he's going to relent, he's going to completely stop what he had planned for Sodom just because Abraham knew who God was. Amen. So Abraham said again, now that I have been so bold to speak to the Lord, though I am nothing but dust and ashes, what if the numbers were 5 less than 50? So the Lord said, if I find 45, then I will spare the whole place. Abraham did this 3 more times until there was only 10 people. God said, if I find 10, I will relent. So if he can forgive Sodom, and Sodom wasn't even the one that repented, why do we beat on ourselves about things that we've done? And he just repented for somebody else. He asked God the same question 6 times, over and over and over, and every time God was slow to anger, and God said, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. And Sodom was completely guilty of everything that they did, but because somebody else pleaded with God and reasoned with God, he changed his mindset on it. God forgave them, and they didn't even repent. They weren't the ones that repented. So we got to stop beating on ourselves. It's like, this is how much power we have. This is how close we can get to God, that we can just talk to God and say, Lord, can you forgive me? And he'll say, yes. God can get as big and bad, and it can be thunder and lightning, and it can be tornadoes and hurricanes. But if you say, God, can you forgive me? It'll look like it does outside right now. Amen. So it's like that we got to understand that. But until we understand that we have that type of reason and power with God, I mean, we're gonna be walking around in the hurricane and the thunder and the tornado because we don't understand how close we could get to God.
Amen. Amen.
So that's how the Lord wants our relationship to be with him. He wants us to get that close, how Abraham is with him. If we're wrong, say, God, I'm wrong. Can we work this out? Like, yeah, it sounds crazy to say, God, can we work this out? But it's not crazy. That's how our whole faith is. It's crazy. We're not supposed to understand it, but we're supposed to believe that it can happen. Amen. And that's how it happens. Amen. So another story that is just like that. Jonah. So he, in the book of Nahum, Jonah, so God, the whole book, God is just talking about how he's just going to completely destroy Nineveh. Like, he was so upset. He was saying that he was going to pelt them with their filthiness. He was going to lift their skirt up and embarrass them. Like, he was going hard on Nineveh. But he chased Jonah down to get them to repent so he didn't have to punish them. That's crazy. Do you understand that? So literally, He's saying, oh, I'm going to punish them so bad. Then he's like, Jonah, please get them to repent so I don't have to do this. Like, that's how good God is. God's going to show you how angry he could be, but he doesn't want to do it. That's not what he wants to do. So sometimes if we hear God say, well, I'm going to punish you, you've been wicked for too long, we say, okay. And then we get down and we get depressed and we get upset because God just gave us a word of judgment. But it's not eternal judgment, it's judgment for now. So we beat on ourselves for something that could be changed. So he said he was going to destroy them, but he begged somebody to get them to repent so he didn't have to. That's how good he is. He's that good. I mean, Jonah 3:10 says, when God saw what they did and how they turned from their evil ways, he relented. Again, he said relented. They threw on sackcloth, their animals put on sackcloth. They didn't eat, they didn't let their animals eat. Them boys, they repented. They repented. So in Jonah 3:10 it says, when God saw what they did and how they turned from their evil ways, he relented and did not bring on them the destruction he had threatened. God wrote a whole book about how he was going to destroy them, and still repented. God don't care how much he do before or how much he blows up before it. If you repent, you're good. That's what his son came for. And we it's crazy. God will blow up like he's about to just wreck your whole world. And then when you repent, he'll be like, oh no, we good. It's just that easy. And some of us are beating on ourselves. Some of us are putting judgment on ourselves. And that's a lie from the enemy. That's a trick. So, it's funny. Like, so what Nineveh did, they heard that they were going to get destroyed and they repented. So some of us, we can get prophecy or a prophetic word, or if I was to prophesy to this and say, the Lord says you've been in sin too long, the Lord says you will surely die. Some of us will say, well, I ain't living for the Lord no more. If he's going to kill me, I might as well do what I want to do. You can look right back at the person that prophesied to you and repent in their face. You can say, Lord, forgive me. And then God will be like, oh, never mind, scratch that. Just like that. It's just that easy. That's what they did. God's word isn't a liar. And so if y'all get that word, y'all don't turn around, don't give your life to the enemy because you feel like it's over. If God is telling you you'll surely die and you're not dead yet, right, you can change it. You know what I think about all the time? You know how in Job it says the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away? We always think about it as we have something good and if God takes it away, it was supposed to be gone. No, God can give us bad stuff and take it away. We got to have a new perspective about that scripture. God can give us a curse or a punishment and take it away just that quick. Yeah. So it's not just good stuff that he takes from us. God takes bad stuff from us just as quick as he gives, you know what I'm saying? So we gotta have a new perspective on that. We gotta stop looking at God like he wants to take us out. Or like he just wants to ruin our lives, or as soon as we mess up, he just wants to punish us. That's not how it is. We just look at the fruit of the Spirit, and we just look at who God was. He's slow to anger. God is meek. He has self-control. So if he has self-control and you make him mad, I mean, it's so easy. I mean, the walk for God is hard, but when you know what you're working with, it's easy. Yeah. If he's slow to anger, you make him mad, and then he tells you can repent. Just repent. Just repent. And some of us be like, repent or just stop living for God because I got in trouble. I think I'll stop living for God. Like, repent. Repent. It's like a fresh start. It says his graces and mercies are new every day. So if they're new every day, why would you give up the rest of your life when you can just restart at the midnight hour? In Jonah chapter 4, this is the crazy part. In Jonah chapter 4, Jonah just gave up on life. Jonah said 3 times that he wanted to kill himself. Why? He was mad at God because God changed his mind this fast. Yes. Okay, so Jonah didn't have that relationship with God that I'm talking about. He wasn't there yet. So when God was so radically loving to them that he changed his mind, Jonah couldn't understand. Jonah sat under the tree and was like, I want to kill myself. I can't live this life anymore. Jonah was outraged that God's mercy was so good. That's how good God is. Jonah sat there, and then, come on, Jonah. Jonah sat there and wanted to kill himself. That's how good God is. That his natural mind couldn't even process it like that. He sat under that tree for like a long time. And then he had the plant grow, and then he had the worm eat it just to show Jonah I can do what I want. And Jonah was like, still mad. And then the book ended like that. I don't know what happened with Jonah. He did what Nineveh did. In Jonah 4:11, God said, should I not spare Nineveh, that great city in which there are more than 120,000 persons, not yet even old enough to know their right hand from their left hand, and also just as many animals? So God blew up the way he did in the book of Nahum and in the beginning of Jonah. But the whole time in the back of his mind, God is like, it's all these people here. I don't really want to do this. Let me ask Jonah to do this. He didn't even just ask Jonah. He chased Jonah behind down. So that means he knew that he was going to get Nineveh to repent. So that means the whole time when he blew up, it was to get them to repent, never to actually do it. He will do it now. You don't do it. He will do it. But he's going to do everything he can first to make sure you get the message.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
and another part of the relationship thing, you can never right or wrong with somebody you don't know. Like if somebody bring me peanut butter crackers early in the morning, and I'm allergic to peanut butter, and I'm not a morning person, you can't make me feel better. You have to know me. Because if you don't know me, you're going to bring me all the wrong stuff at the wrong time. You can't make me feel better. It's like God. You can't come wrong. You can't say, I fought, I apologize. God will be like, repent, like pronounce, like do it right. You know what I'm saying? God is loose with it. We can talk to God like how we do because he loves us anyway. But there's a way to go about things. You have to know who you're dealing with so you can deal with them right. You know what I'm saying? You can't just, we don't bring stuff we don't just bring stuff to the mercy seat anymore. We don't do that. You have to know how to deal with them. And you can't know how to deal with him unless you know who he is. And when you know who you serve in detail, you know how to serve them completely in detail. So, and my final example is the book of Judges. So the Israelites were in constant and repetitive sin and disobedience and ignorance and evil. Because that they kept sinning, God raised up a deliverer and he put them in bondage. He allowed them to be put in bondage over and over and over until they got it. So in Judges 2:11 it says the people of Israel again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. So they got put in bondage. And then he raised up a deliverer named Othniel. And then in Judges 3:11 it says the land had rest 40 years. Then Othniel, son of Kenaz, died. And what did they do? Right after the deliverer died, Judges 3:12. I just read Judges 3:11 where he died, the deliverer. Judges 3:12 says, again, Israel did evil, so the Lord strengthened king of Moab, and Israel served them 18 years. So, and look at this now. So they served 4 years in the last one. They served 18 years in this one. Judges 5:31 says the land had rest 40 years again. So Judges 6:1, they did evil again. So he delivered them into the hands of the Midian 7 years. So this is how good God is. See, we don't notice little stuff like this. We want to just blame everything on God and say, God, where are you? He's there. That's why I said the Lord is giving out perspective today, because people look at this and say, why did God let them go in bondage so many times? It's a reason. So first notice they were in bondage 4 years, 7 years, 18 years. Every time he gave them 40 or 40 plus years of rest. So God was just trying to get their attention. They weren't unlucky, and they did something. But God was never going to put so much on them that they couldn't bear. So he gave them a couple of years of bondage for 40 years of rest. But the reason that they kept going back in was because they weren't getting it. They didn't get it. So it's, my favorite thing to say is that you have a half. People look at it two ways: half full or half empty cup, right? Yeah. So I hear people say sometimes that he let them go in bondage for what? There's a reason. So look at it like this. So either you can say God put them in bondage over and over and over, or you can say God set them free over and over and over. And that's what God was trying to do. God wasn't trying to. God didn't even put them in bondage. It said He strengthened them so that they could capture them. God, it's not in His character to put somebody in bondage. He's a deliverer. That's all He can do. But He can strengthen somebody else and let them do it. Because God not gonna go out bad. He gonna stick to His character.
That's right.
So it's crazy. So literally, He said, "All right, Satan, go ahead and get him." And He's like, "Man, I got you. You're here now." And then they'll be like, and then they'll sin again, and He'll grab them again and say, "I got you." So people, we're like Israel sometimes. We'll go in the bondage and say, "I'm in the same cycle of hurt, pain, this, and that," and it's not God's fault. Where is God? Or why is Satan attacking me so hard? It's not that. It's God's trying to get your attention the whole time, and you calling it bondage, and it's God's love. And people don't understand that. God don't care how many times He gotta let you get hurt, but He gonna pick you up every time until you get that it's Him picking you up. And this is the funniest thing, right? So in school, everybody, if you failed the test and the teacher said, "We taking a retest," everybody loved it, right? Yeah. Or if you going to take a driver's test and you failed 3 times and you take it again, the 4th time and they let you pass, you love it, right? Or if you taking a job and your scores ain't right and you take it 8 times and you finally get the job, we love it. But when God takes us through a test and He gives us a retest, we hurting. We don't like it. We don't like it when God gives us that retest, right? So why can we treat the natural so good when we get retests? We rejoice over a retest. But then God gave Israel a retest over and over and over until God, and they didn't like it. So we got to realize that God's giving us a retest, and we're not in cycles of bondage. But God is going to keep letting us get what we get until we realize that it's Him setting us free every time.
Amen.
So
Amen.
y'all be thankful for y'all's retest. Because if it was your math teacher, you would like it. If it was your job, you would like it. So don't do God like that.
That's
So,
right.
and y'all got to realize that He dedicated the whole book of Judges just to showing them that I'm going to set you free every time until you get it. That's the same God that we serve today.
Amen.
So, I mean, the whole time God was running, why won't you notice me? And God is patient. We talked about it in the fruit, and we talked about it in who He is, and long suffering. God watches people hurt for 4 years so He can hug on them and love on them and give them peace for 40 until they realize it. And they didn't have to keep going back, but they kept sending themselves back. But God was going to rescue them every time, and that's how good He is. He doesn't want to punish us. He wants to show us that He loves us. But if He has to let us get our punishment for 4 years to give us 40 years of rest, He'll do that. But He'll never let us break, though. He'll never let us break. So basically, what I'm saying today is that we have to know God. We have to realize that it is God. So sometimes when the devil is beating on us, it's not. Sometimes it's not even the devil beating on us. Sometimes it's God saying, "Look at me. I want you. I love you. Come to me." Like what are you doing? So there's two ways to go about this season, or two ways to go. You know, it's not even just this holiday season. It's year round when we go through trials and we go through circumstances. We have to realize that God just wants us. So it can go two ways. You can be depressed and let yourself be depressed, or you can give it to God and let God love on you. And that's all it takes. You have to know who you're dealing with. You got to know who your God is. He's not out to get you. He's out to get your heart. And that's what we got to realize, that He's a good God. That's who we need. That's who we need in our life. So if He did it for Nineveh, if He did it for Sodom, if He did it for in the book of Judges for Israel over and over and over, He could do it for us. He can do it for us. So we got to stop counting ourselves out, because we're all still here. Everybody's present today, right? In body, everybody, body and spirit, everybody's present. So we got to stop counting ourselves out. He's a forgiving God. He did, a whole city was wicked, a whole land, a whole region of a map was wicked, and He forgave every last one of them for 50 people that had who knows how many people. So it could be 10 people in here right now that have been living wicked up until this day. But because of these 3 or these 4 right here, y'all are good. And because we're praying for y'all. And we're praying for everybody in here. And we're all one family. And that's what it's about. So we gotta realize that, I mean, if He did it for them, He can do it for us. He can do it for us.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen.